Tonight at 6, Alaska's delegation talks about the Bering Air crash and aviation safety. Plus,
the weather systems just move rapidly, and so you can take off when the weather's really nice and then get caught in terrible weather within half hour.
Challenges in Alaska's aviation. A pilot explains the difficulties.
While the highs and lows of winter both affecting Alaska, I'll have the forecast for you.
And a call for caution from the Forest Service. What glacier it says that you should stay away from.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
Our hearts go out to the communities, the families, the victims who were lost. We're a small state in terms of population and lives. Loss in Alaska touched so many people.
And these are the faces of the people who died in that plane crash near Nome. As Alaskan leaders today speak out about aviation safety, we continue to learn the stories behind the people who died. We have heard from so many loved ones about what all those lives meant.
And today that included the neighbors of one Eagle River man.
And then all of our sales today are also going to them.
Okay, perfect.
These are just some of J.D. Moncure's neighbors showing up at Eagle River's Soda and S'mores, who donated all the sale proceeds today to his family. Now, for the first time today, his family sent us his picture, just one of those 10 people we have been showing you and bringing you stories of the last few days.
Now, this morning, some of the folks inside of the lines of cars remembered Moncure for his giving nature.
No, it just warms my heart. I took a picture earlier and I see the lines, and I had already actually driven past once today, and it helps knowing that the community is there for them when they need to be.
And if you still want to donate to the family, Soda and S'mores has 3 locations. They're all open until 7 tonight. You can read about all 10 people who were on board that flight, including the image that we've been created and our website and our mobile app.
Well, inspired to use Flight 445 crash to take a look at safety resources that they say Alaska lacks.
Our delegation says that they are committed to improving weather technology for Alaska pilots.
Pacific, Becky. And what was the second part of your...
And that was the big message at a D.C. news conference today. The Transportation Secretary and NTSB chair joining the delegation, along with too few air traffic controllers. Alaska pilots forced to rely on people on the ground for weather conditions because of broken technology. That was all talked about. But when questions turned to paying for a plan, when D.C. budget cuts are happening based on what Senator Sullivan called waste and redundancy, he says no one's considering aviation safety cuts.
When it comes to aviation safety, whether in America or in Alaska, the Congress, in a very bipartisan way, has spoken forcefully. So I don't anticipate any funding cuts there. We will fight them, certainly as it relates to Alaska. But we are off to a good start on this initiative.
Sullivan says just like past bills have been paid for aviation improvements, he expected the same now. As far as the investigation, NTSB Chair Homendy said while Bering Air Flight 444's engine monitoring system would be sent to D.C., she confirmed that investigators will be examining wreckage in Nome.
We are united as a team, as members of the Alaska delegation, working with our federal partners to make sure that we take every step possible to ensure that our skies are safe for the traveling public.
And the delegation also talked about the other aviation deaths in the past few weeks that have happened around the country.
The FAA put out a release saying they were going to review other airspaces that had a lot of congestion, particularly as it relates to fixed-wing aviation, military aviation, and when the Secretary and I talked this weekend, they made sure to include the Anchorage Bowl, which, as Alaskans know, is a very busy place.
A part of that news conference looks at another part of aviation safety specific to Alaska, where things in the sky can quickly change.
It's, beautiful. It's fantastic. But the weather is the biggest factor with flying out here.
Bush planes use visual flight rules, or VFR, meaning they rely on visual cues instead of instruments. And with weather changing so fast, it can be a challenge even for experienced pilots. The NTSB talked about these concerns at a news conference earlier today, saying they plan to work with state agencies to reevaluate VFR regulations and strengthen Alaska's aviation safety. Our complete coverage of the Bering Air Flight 445 crash is live now on our webpage and mobile app, where you can watch that entire news conference. And new at 6, Anchorage Police Chief Sean Case telling Alaska's News Source today the man who was shot and killed by police earlier this month never shot at an officer first.
Case's video that has not been released, and neither has a report from the Office of Special Prosecutions. But he says that it will show the suspect, identified as 33-year-old Francis Rochon, ignored officer commands and pulled a gun from his waistband at very close range. He said the officer had seconds to respond.
They're going to fire that round very, very quickly, and you still have to react to their movement. So the officers are, the law certainly gives leeway to be able to justify why that decision is made without being shot at and without having a gun pointed directly at them.
Rochon's sister previously told Alaska's News Source that she had dropped her brother off at APD headquarters just 2 hours before the shooting to pick up his gun after previous charges were dropped. The family says they have no idea what happened in those 2 hours. Case told us police don't know either, and that the chief says that he expects to release video to the public within the 45-day limit. That would fall on March 22nd, and we just posted that full interview on our webpage for you to watch.
And there's a call for caution in the Juneau area because of a glacier.
The Forest Service is asking people to stay away from the face of the Mendenhall Glacier due to a large calving event. They are expecting a substantial portion of the glacier to collapse at any time after a large crack in the ice was spotted.
Now, they say that calving activity has happened recently, and large ice falling could create a significant disturbance across the lake. Jackie, what do you see about that video? I know Melissa's been watching it all day.
Well, we saw what a disturbance could do on a lake that is attached to a glacier. That happened at Portage, yes, just this past weekend. So I would say don't skate on glacier lakes because, yes, if there is a calving event, that just ripples right through that ice. That ice starts to break up. It can be very dangerous. Let's check out our weather in the southwestern and western portion of the state. There's a snow-rain mix moving north. So snow tonight in the forecast around the Seward Peninsula, Nome included, but it's still dry in the south central region as well as into the interior, spreading into southeast Alaska as a ridge of high pressure does maintain its control. You can see how clear it was into the Anchorage area with a view of not only Denali but 4 Acre as we go into the evening hours as well. Now, for the current temperature in Anchorage, we're at 23 degrees, light winds just 3 miles per hour moving into the interior. It is 3 above, and their winds are up to 5 miles per hour. These are the conditions in the Anchorage area with 20 showing up in numerous locations, 19 from J-Bear, however. But going into the evening hours, we'll continue to see mostly clear skies here as well as into the interior. Southeast Alaska will continue to see clear skies. There is some snow showers rotating through the Gulf of Alaska. Yakutat, you're highest in line to see that, but by Friday, that will be spreading our way. So Anchorage has a chance of some new snow. Other areas have a better chance. You can see like Prince William Sound. We could see those high temperatures still into the 20s tomorrow, 9 above in Fairbanks, 29 in Juneau. All of us seeing sunshine, and in Bethel, mostly cloudy, a high of 31. We'll be back with a look at the forecast coming up again in just a few minutes.
All right, Jackie, looking forward to that. Thank you. Now, the Anchorage Assembly meeting is happening right now, and it's a big night. They're looking at making jaywalking illegal and making parents liable for children bringing guns to school. Plus, there's the recognition of Black History Month. Stay with Alaska's News Source tonight, and as new developments come in, we'll let you know.
Still ahead, what happens when a school closes, but money is supposed to be spent on projects around it. Details on where those millions might go.
You're watching Alaska's News Source.
And when they announced a school would close in Fairbanks to save money, there was already a plan to spend money to improve access to get to that school.
Alex Bangle spoke with an official at Fast Planning. It's an organization that puts on community enhancement efforts in the borough about where that funding was set to go and what happens next.
Behind me, the borough's public transportation system may receive funding for new buses powered by compressed natural gas. The money would be going here instead of to improvements at Pearl Creek Elementary, which is set to be closed at the end of this academic year. The $4.5 million project planned to add new car plug-ins, repave the parking lot, and improve the driveway. Now, Fast Planning is looking at a number of options, including a filling station for compressed natural gas at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. The organization has a couple of years to spend the money, but in the meanwhile, they're waiting to see what happens to Pearl Creek Elementary.
This project could be put on the shelf in the event that Pearl Creek Elementary, the school reopens or perhaps gets repurposed. We can revisit that decision. So we're not shutting the project down entirely at this time.
The money hasn't been specifically put toward any projects yet, but Fox says a decision could be reached as early as this summer. Alex Bengal, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.